A few weeks back, we dove into that massive, multi-trillion-dollar longevity economy. Well, today, you're getting the actionable update. We're going to zero in on one specific piece of clinical data that isn't just making a few waves. No, it's totally rewriting the future of a technology we all thought we knew. So let's get into it. mRNA's second act. And this right here is the core idea we need to wrap our heads around. The market has had this completely wrong. While most of us were thinking about COVID boosters, a truly massive shift was happening right under our noses. The exact same tech that got us through the pandemic is now being turned into a weapon against one of the deadliest cancers out there. This isn't just a pivot, people. It's a full-blown revolution. So, you've really got to understand this reframing. On the left, you've got what the market remembers, what we all thought mRNA was, basically a one-trick pony for a specific pandemic. But look over on the right. That's the emerging reality. And it is a completely different animal, a personalized, adaptable platform for treating cancer. And that is where this huge investment opportunity is just starting to crack open. So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through mRNA's second act, then get into the nitty-gritty of that breakthrough data. From there, we'll look at Big Pharma's huge problem, figure out how to decode the biotech pipeline, and then, the best part, the smart money playbook for getting way out ahead of the headlines. All right, Section 1, mRNA's second act begins. So how in the world did we go from thinking this technology peaked to now seeing it as the future standard of care in oncology? Well, it all starts with perception. You know, for the last couple of years, the consensus on Wall Street was that mRNA technology basically had its 15 minutes of fame. Companies like Moderna and BioNTech, their stocks just cooled right off as the world tried to move on from the pandemic. The narrative was simple. The big show was over. The tech got filed away as a success, sure, but a temporary one. Well, that narrative is about to get completely torn to shreds. Okay, let's get to the catalyst, the alpha, that piece of information that just changes the entire investment thesis. And listen, this isn't just speculation. This is hard data from a clinical trial that sent absolute shockwaves through the oncology world. First things first, let's set the baseline here. Pancreatic cancer is just notoriously brutal to treat. Historically, the 5-year survival rate is a grim 13%, and for decades, that number has barely moved. It is one of the most feared diagnoses in all of medicine. Just burn that number into your brain, 13%. Now look at this, just look at that leap. A recent phase 1 trial using a personalized mRNA vaccine shot that survival rate up to nearly 44%. That's more than a 3-fold increase. We're not talking about some tiny incremental improvement here. This is a paradigm shift, and it's coming from a very early stage trial, which is it's almost unheard of. Get this, 7 of the 16 patients in that trial were still alive up to 6 years later. So how does this magic even work? Well, it's not a drug that goes in and attacks cancer directly. It's a personalized vaccine that literally teaches your own immune system, specifically your T cells, which are like the special forces of your immune system, to hunt down and destroy your unique cancer cells. But the most incredible part? The study showed this immune response was durable. It lasted for the full 6-year study. This is what transforms a terminal diagnosis into something that could become a manageable chronic condition. Okay, so we've got a massive scientific breakthrough. But what makes this a massive business story? Let's dive into Big Pharma's $100 billion problem. Because this data isn't just inspiring hope, it is sparking legitimate fear in the boardrooms of the world's biggest drug companies. See, the largest pharmaceutical companies are staring down the barrel of what's called a patent cliff. Their blockbuster drugs, the ones that generate tens of billions in revenue, are about to lose patent protection. Take Merck's cancer drug, Keytruda. That thing brings in $30 billion a year, but its patent expires in 2028. After that, generic competition will absolutely crater its sales. They are desperate to find the next big thing. So what's their play? They can't build the future fast enough on their own, so they're buying it. We have seen a massive $12 billion plus M&A wave as these giants just scramble to acquire the smaller, more innovative biotech companies that actually own these next-gen oncology platforms. And they are paying a fortune for them. I mean, these are not normal acquisitions. We're talking premiums as high as 79% over the stock price. This isn't just aggressive, it's a desperate strategic move for pure survival. They know that if they don't own this technology, they are going to be competing against it. And frankly, that is a battle they are not sure they can win. So how does all this come together into a strategy you can actually use? Well, in this section, we're going to open up the insider's toolkit. How do you spot these breakthroughs before they become front-page news? It's all about learning how to decode the biotech pipeline. Okay, so here's the secret. You have to stop waiting for the final splashy phase 3 data. The real clues are hidden much earlier, in what are called phase 2 endpoints. Think of it like an early warning system. Smart money isn't just looking at whether a tumor shrinks. No, they're tracking these sophisticated metrics like recurrence-free survival, or RFS, and crucially, that activation of those cancer-killing T cells we talked about. These are the leading indicators. This is reading the tea leaves. Another huge signal to watch for is the FDA's Fast Track designation. When the FDA grants this, it's basically shouting from the rooftops, hey, this drug looks incredibly promising for a serious condition, and we need to get it to patients ASAP. It's a massive vote of confidence from the most important regulator on the planet, and it dramatically de-risks the investment. But, and this is a huge but that separates the pros from the amateurs, while Fast Track is great, it comes with a catch, thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act. This speed pass also starts a 9-year clock for government price negotiations, and if that's timed wrong, it could shave $500 million off a drug's lifetime value. The smart investors, they're already factoring this Fast Track penalty into their models. Which brings us right to our final section, the Smart Money Playbook. How do you take all this information and actually invest ahead of the headlines instead of just reacting to them like everyone else? The process is actually pretty clear and repeatable. First, you have to do the work. Dive into the science and track that phase 2 data, focusing on leading indicators like T-cell activation. Second, you monitor the regulatory side for catalysts, like that FDA Fast Track designation. And third, you connect it all back to the business by modeling how this new data changes the total addressable market. This last step, it's all about the TAM, total addressable market. It's the total revenue opportunity out there. See, a retail investor might ask, how much money did the company make last quarter? But smart money asks a different question. How much bigger is the potential market tomorrow because of this new data? It's a forward-looking approach, not a reactive one. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The retail investor, they wait for the big phase 3 data drop, they see the stock pop 20%, and then they chase the headline. They're late to the party. The smart money investor was already positioned 6 months earlier because they weren't watching the stock price. They were tracking the shift in the total addressable market. And just so we're clear, the scale here is just immense. This isn't some tiny niche play. A single company, Moderna, is already targeting 10 different cancer programs with this technology, with a combined potential market of over $30 billion. That is the future that smart money is modeling and investing in today. I want to leave you with this idea because it perfectly captures the lesson here. Waiting for the good news and seeing the stock jump, that's just getting the receipt for a transaction that's already happened. The real value, the real money, is made months earlier when you correctly identify and buy what that receipt will be for. So, we'll end on this question. The pancreatic cancer trial wasn't the end of the story. It was the proof of concept. It proved that mRNA is a true platform technology. So the question is no longer if it will work on other cancers, but which one is next. That's the $100 billion question, and it's the future we'll be watching. Thanks for tuning in.